I think next we're wanting to talk about, I think, the crazy news for Star Wars that we're possibly getting in episodes 10 through 12 from writer Simon Kinberg.
Well, more producer writer. He's way more of a producer than
sure,
than
but
a writer.
he's in the role of writer on this one. He'll be writing all 3 movies. And what he's written is like, so with Star Wars, he's written a lot of Star Wars Rebels. So there's that. But on the other hand, he's recently written
fantastic
Days of Future Past, which is
Days
the
of
only
Future
good.
Past? What? It's like incredible.
It's a great X-Men movie. It's one of the best for sure. But he also wrote X-Men Dark Phoenix, Age of Apocalypse, the X-Men Last Stand, X-Men First Class, which I'm really
good.
Yeah, a lot of people like that one more than me. To be honest.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith TV show, which is up for an Emmy for best drama.
Yep. So he's done some good things. He's done one good thing recently
for Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he did Jumper as well. I'm a fan of Jumper.
So like, yeah,
he's very hit and miss.
Yes,
right.
But when he hits, it's really fucking good.
Yes.
Days of Future Past, and
I'll give you Days of Future Past. That's like that one and Jumper.
And Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, I haven't seen Rebels, so you'd have to give me the. But yes, I understand. Yeah, like it's very well received. Like it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a consensus. That it's well received for Rebels. But the reports that it came out this week is that it's possibly in episodes 10 through 12. I think in a sense that's what I have more of a problem with, rather than him being the writer on this. Now, if it is a 10 through 12, I'm glad they have one guy writing all of it, so it's actually a cohesive trilogy rather than just like throwing it together at the last minute.
Split between 3 and then eventually just 2 directors.
Yeah.
With no, end goal in mind. Just J.J. Abrams being like, we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to introduce the Emperor back. No, I mean, what fucked it up was like just from the first movie. He was just like, I don't really know. I don't have a roadmap.
Let's just kind of reboot the first movie and let's see what happens from there. Yeah. It was look, that trilogy is a mess. It's one of the most poorly planned trilogies I've ever heard of or ever seen. And it's part of the reason why I'm so upset it's happening. Or if it is happening, I just desperately don't want a continuation of the mainline Star Wars at this point.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars Episode 9 is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And like I already wasn't excited about the Rey movie. I had come to accept that was happening. If it even is happening still, because it's on its 4th writer now, apparently. But I thought that was supposed to kind of be what an episode 10 through 12 would be. Like she's continuing on the story, and she's Rey Skywalker. So she's like, that's just, I hate it. I know, but like she is, and so she's gonna continue on the legacy. And like I was like, great, we don't need a 10, 11, and 12. George Lucas never envisioned a 10, 11, and 12. So let's just not even go there. But and I don't know. And I thought we had gotten
and
comments.
Also, like, can we really? I mean, yeah, I guess in today's day and age, you can just say things and this is what I mean, and then completely do something else and be like, doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Words don't mean anything.
No.
But they did say the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, correct? With episode 9, that's what they advertise it as, the epic conclusion to the Skywalker saga. They were never going to do any more after that.
Right. And I thought we had heard from Kathleen Kennedy that was the case, that they would go away from the mainline canon. And you're right. Like,
we should say that this is not confirmed. It's just what there's been speculation that it would be. And
like other reports have been
another
Right.
Like it would just be a trilogy of movies in the Star Wars universe. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is 10 through 12. I think honestly, if you want to keep the Star Wars brand alive, if you actually were to go through 10 through 12 as like the continuation of the main story, like I do think that that's one of the ways you're more than likely just going to keep your fans at each other's throats most of the time, because everyone's already so upset. Now, granted, hardcore fans only make up like a small amount. They might just also be thinking about like people who casually like Star Wars and like, oh, cool. Yeah. Like, I saw the last movie. And so
because nothing is going to get the casual fan more into Star Wars than like a mainline canon movie,
Yeah. Which maybe that's their thinking. I really would prefer to do other stories. Like, even though like, I don't really want the James Mangold, origin of the Force movie, but that is more appealing to me than in episode 10, 11, or 12.
Agreed. Because you can, I think what I want from Star Wars at this point is like, let's go back to movies. Let's do like one movie every 2 to 3 years. And let's just have it be a cool standalone Star Wars story that doesn't need to rely on any other backstory. It can just use the already existing universe and aesthetics. And we can have like directors have their own freedom to tell the stories they want. And maybe we'll get some great stories out of it. But like, I don't need I don't need additional canon to the canon that Disney has already slightly ruined. So, and I know like some people won't feel that way at all, that they feel like, Disney's been great for Star Wars, but it's just like,
I mean, in some ways it's been,
in a few ways,
great stuff.
Right. But I think for the most part, and I think we discussed this, I think on our live stream, maybe a few weeks back, but like that, like looking back, we would have been so happy to just stay with episodes 1 through 6 and then Clone Wars and Rebels. And that's it. Like, that's so much storytelling already. And you don't need so much of this extra content weighing down the already great story that was there. It's so not necessary.
Yeah. I mean, so that is to say, if it is episodes 10 through 12, if it's just a trilogy of new movies that are maybe slightly attached to the main story or completely removed, I think that sounds great.
Right.
Personally, this just is another thing in the long list of Lucasfilm
announced movies.
Announced movies that I
have the list here, by the way, if you want to hear all the announced movies right now.
We can. I just feel like it's going to get added to it.
Yeah, it is. Right.
6 months later, we're going to hear Simon Kinberg is no longer making the is attached to do the trilogy, but they still like the idea and they're moving forward. They're just going to find some somebody else to attach.
Right.
We were very happy with the work with Simon, but we're different on a couple things, and bye and also
like happens so often.
He is hit and miss. I don't think that just because you made Dark Phoenix, as your
Apocalypse,
as your first time being a director, I don't think that necessarily is disqualifying.
I mean, he's not directing it, so I'm not upset with that,
Right. And I think that like in a producer role, like he's produced some of the most incredible movies in the past couple years. Like he helped produce Logan. He helped produce X-Men Days of Future Past. He did The Martian.
He did do Murder on the Orient Express, which is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I mean, like he's a good producer. He produces some great stuff.
But he also wrote and produced Fantastic Four.
Yes, I mean,
God bless.
Yeah, I mean,
but go on.
They're not all wins.
No, they're not. They're not.
But I think, and like, so it's 50-50, but when he does good, he does good. When there's bad, it's bad. It's very bad. Which, hopefully it would be the former and not very bad. But yeah, do you want? I mean, you can roll down the list unless.
Yeah. So basically, we have this Star Wars trilogy. So that's 3 movies. We have The Mandalorian and Grogu, the New Jedi Order.
That is happening. That is actively being shot.
Sure. That is actively being shot. Then we have the New Jedi Order from James Mangold. No, sorry, not James Mangold. That's the Rey one. And then we have James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi. That's 6. We have the Lando movie. That's 7. Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie. That's 8. We have Taika Waititi's movie. Sean Levy's Star Wars movie. Patty Jenkins. Yeah, Star Wars movie Rogue Squadron. That's 11. And then Rian Johnson's trilogy, which is another 3 movies. So that's 14 movies in development, technically.
You're missing one.
I am.
Kevin Feige.
But they already confirmed that wasn't a thing.
But it was actively happening up until it wasn't, because it got announced and then it never happened.
But like, I don't know if you remember, Kathleen Kennedy came out and was like, yeah, that was something that like we had casually discussed with Kevin. And
then why did you announce it that it was happening?
I don't know.
So
but apparently
it gets added to the list.
Sure. But I think she admitted that like that was something casual and that it's probably not happening.
It doesn't matter. You don't say these things. You know?
I agree. So we have like 14 to 15 Star Wars movies in development. I would doubt that 75% of these even happen. And they're just kind of throwing shit at the wall at this point.
They just announce things.
They do. They're like, that's a good idea. Let's announce it. It's just like, okay, but like maybe, get a writer, or director attached, finish the script before you announce something. I don't know. Like that's a good idea, I think. But yeah, I think 10 through 12 is a bad idea.
I think that's a bad idea. I think going back into like a trilogy where a movie's every like 2 to 3 years is probably a good idea. I agree with you. I just think that Kathleen Kennedy, she's just got to go at this point. Not as like, I'm not saying that as somebody who absolutely hates Kathleen Kennedy, because I think under her stewardship running Lucasfilm, there's been a lot of good stuff. I also think that there's been
a lot
of bad stuff. Well, I would argue that there has, like, when The Mandalorian came out, we all collectively as Star Wars fans finally got to have, at least for 2 seasons, like this great joyous time where we're like, this is great. Everybody likes this. And we got Andor, we got Rogue One, those are fantastic. And yes, we did get a lot of bad stuff. I'm not going to say that we didn't. Boba Fett. But
Obi-Wan.
I do think that, I like The Force Awakens, and I know a lot of people like The Last Jedi. Like
that's me. Yeah.
There's still like good things, but the problem is that there's the announcements that never get followed through on, and also having miscommunication with her, like her creative partners, and the people who she hires to do these things, but then they have to swap them out and get new people, i.e. the same stuff like that happened with Rogue One. Even though that did turn out good, it's happened with other things, and they've not turned out good. I guess in general, not having a roadmap of what the fuck they're doing. And
it's just like, let's just make content to keep selling more Star Wars stuff. It's like they just want to keep the brand in everyone's mind so that they keep, like, I think this last year alone, they sold like $1 billion in Star Wars merch. Like that's how well the brand is doing. And I think if they just keep releasing shit, that's like, well, we're doing our jobs at that point,
Yeah.
And it's a mess. It's a mess. And on top of all of her Star Wars shit, she made Dial of Destiny. So there's that too. Yeah. So
she ruined Indiana Jones for me.
Yeah. Made your least favorite, which is kind of hard to do after that 4th one. But she did it. She did.
Still have a soft spot for that movie.
You do. More than me, for sure.